false police charges.
Court come to order. All rise.
Be seated, please.
Good morning, Judge. We have case 1083, Bruce versus Belafontaine.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Bruce, you're a driver for Uber.
Was.
How long were you an Uber driver?
2 years almost.
Your complaint states that you're immunocompromised.
Yeah, I have asthma.
Take medication for it,
I have an inhaler.
and that's it.
Yeah.
This incident happened on what date?
July 31st, 2020.
Briefly and succinctly, it is your claim that the defendant filed a false police report against you, which resulted in your losing your job as an Uber driver.
Yes.
And you want to be compensated to the tune of $10,000.
Yeah, at this point, Your Honor, I've lost over $10,000 in wages.
That's possible,
And I've been blacklisted.
because you have an arrest for assault. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's a pending battery charge that they kicked me off the platform for.
Okay. Is that action still pending?
It's been dismissed, but Uber will not take my phone calls.
Just a second.
Yes.
I just want to make certain that that criminal action has been dismissed. Otherwise, I would not do this case.
Yes, and I have
Good.
proof.
I'd like to see the document that dismisses the criminal trial.
Yes.
And then we'll get to the facts. Oh, my dear. Okay, I'll get to this in a second. Okay, so this is what happened, and it was on July 31st, 2020. You and the defendant, who did not know each other prior to this confrontation, were both standing in line, according to what I read, to have your cars washed. You were driving for Uber at the time, and according to you, had been for a couple of years, and had been doing that during the height of the global pandemic. And you claim that you felt specifically threatened in this case because you were immunocompromised. I asked what the nature of that illness was, and you say you had asthma, for which you take an inhaler. Okay, it is your claim that there was a dispute over the defendant cutting in front of your car. She says cutting in front of your car, pushing in where two lanes merged to pay to get into the car wash. You'll explain that to me in a little more depth. According to you, the defendant got out of her car in a violent manner, came up to your car. You opened the passenger window.
My passenger side window is already down.
Fine. She came up to the car, you say, acting erratically. She was yelling at you, and she was yelling at you during COVID. She was unmasked. You felt threatened. In order to get her away from the car, according to you, you flung at the car window a empty Pringles can. That's what I believe you say in here. It was an empty Pringles can. I may be wrong. You look as if you want to say something.
Well, the report came up a little wrong.
Just. I'm looking at what you said to me in here.
Okay.
Yes, I panicked and I grabbed an empty Pringles container and threw it towards the window. That's what you wrote. You remember writing that?
They wrote that out a little bit wrong. I bopped her with it. But yes, Pringle can.
I grabbed an empty Pringles can and threw it towards the window. So what you're saying now, that is not correct. You hit her with the empty Pringles can.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And then she got back into her car, and you decided not to go through the car wash at that time, and you left.
Yes, I
So far.
never got
So far, is that correct? You did not go through the car wash, and you left.
Yes, and I never got out of my car.
I didn't say you got out of your car. I said
Yes.
you corrected me and said that you didn't throw this empty Pringles container at her. You bopped her with it, which means you hit her with it, and then did not wait around to see what happened. You left.
I left.
Subsequently, you discovered that she had, in fact, reported this incident to the police. She alleged that she was, in fact, assaulted by you with an instrument, and you were, in fact, arrested, and you hired a lawyer. Were you assigned a public defender?
Yes.
Okay. And the public defender, according to this, had conferences with the district attorney. And the district attorney applied for a dismissal of this case in the interests of justice. You know what that means?
Yes.
Okay. Well, for those people who may be watching this, those millions of people, Lord willing, who are watching this program, interests of justice, so say the court in this case in the people of the state of California v. Savannah Marie Bruce. After reviewing the evidence in this case, including the victim's statements, defendant's statements, and independent witness statements, the people conclude that the defendant committed a battery upon the victim. That's the way the court starts. When the defendant struck the victim with a metal water bottle, the defendant had other, less violent means to stop any threat that she felt. That's the conclusion of the court. However, the people also conclude that the defendant could have felt threatened by the victim's aggressive approach to the defendant's car. Therefore, the defendant would likely receive, if the case went to trial, a self-defense instruction. Therefore, she has a colorable self-defense, and the people are unlikely to secure a guilty verdict. That's a verdict beyond a reasonable doubt. That's not my standard here. The first thing that I remember learning as a child was sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. You can't pick up an instrument and use it against another human being. Period. End of discussion.
Savannah Bruce claims fellow driver Diana Belfontaine owes for lost wages from false police charges. Diana is countersuing for attorney fees and damages from an assault.
Okay, my standard here is much lower. It's a preponderance of the evidence, which means more likely than not. Not clear and convincing, not beyond a reasonable doubt. Preponderance of the evidence. So, your claim is self-defense, because according to you, as a result of this action, it's on your papers and you can't get a job. I wouldn't actually say it's being blacklisted. You were arrested for an assault, which you were not found not guilty of. You were not found guilty of. The court declined to hear the case in the interests of justice, probably because you have no record.
I have a clean record now.
You have a clean record. The court said, oh, she looks like a nice girl. She has no prior record. How old are you?
26.
So you're 26 years old. We have other more important things to do. The defendant, on the other hand, has a counterclaim. Defendant says there was this incident. She did get out of her car. She went over to your car because she was trying to get back into the lane. You weren't letting her get back into the lane because she thought a lane was opened. It turned out it was closed, so she was trying to get back into her lane, and you were inching up, not allowing her back into the lane. She got out of her car, probably very irritated, came over to your car and probably started to yell at you. Would that be fair?
That's true.
Probably started to yell at you, because I know that you say in your answer, you went over to her and you tried to explain what you were doing, trying to get back into the lane because the lane that you thought was open wasn't open. It's like going to a toll booth. It's happened, well, it doesn't happen to me, but it happens to my husband all the time. We're standing in line and all of a sudden there's no line next to you. Oh, that's a whole new line. I guess nobody else sees that. And he goes over and that toll booth is closed. And then he has to go begging somebody in the other lane to let him back in the lane. Can I go in here? Can I go in here? I say, they're not crazy about you. They're not letting you in. Then he gets mad and more aggressive and he pushes the car closer and closer and closer. So somebody finally lets him in. Would that be a fair statement,
Yes.
Sarah? Okay. Just as long as I don't take the whole heat for this.
Oh,
So I know what happened. She got out, she was angry, and it wasn't a quiet conversation. In response to her, I assume there are statements. The court concluded that this was a metal water bottle, not an empty Pringles can. And I assume that there are witness statements to that effect, which I will see, that you hit her with a bottle. She says causing a split lip, which clearly is an assault. It also says that as a result of this, she had a pre-existing heart condition and she suffered a heart attack. She also says that after you were arrested and when you filed a civil case against her, after this dismissal, she was forced to get an attorney. You got a lawyer?
I did not get a lawyer.
You filed it yourself?
Yes.
And you were seeking what kind of damages from her?
Loss of wages.
How much?
$10,000.
Did you have any legal advice when you filed that case?
Not much.
What does that mean, not much? By not a smart lawyer, or you didn't talk to the lawyer much, or what does that mean?
Okay, I didn't have legal advice.
Well, I don't think I believe that.
I have a friend who's a lawyer.
Well, that's a lawyer. That the lawyer happens to be a friend, the friend is not a stupid lawyer.
Hopefully not.
Okay, and so, you know, this friend who's a lawyer suggested that once this criminal case was dismissed and you couldn't get a job anymore with Uber, that you could file a civil case against her for false arrest.
Yes.
Would that be right? So good to be around here for so long. Okay, you are seeking damages in the amount of $10,000 for the assault.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yes,
now,
Your Honor.
so we're going to start with you, because that's where it starts, right?
Yes.
You're both sitting in your cars, waiting to get to a single queue in order to pay for the car wash?
I had pulled into the car wash long before her, 30 to 45 seconds before her.
That's not long before.
Well,
30 to 45 seconds is not long before.
The way that you summarized it, you said that she was there at the same time as me, and I changed my mind. Well, no, I had been sitting there when she arrived on the scene. I had already turned my wheels, waiting for the traffic to advance so I could complete the merge when she pulled up. I did not see her car until she cut me off. There was no one behind me for 30 to 45 seconds. And then out of the corner of my eye, I could see all of a sudden another car on the scene and cutting me off. And I looked over to try and make eye contact with this person, but the windows were completely black. I couldn't see the driver at all. And so the traffic advanced again, and I moved up, and so did she. And this happened probably 3 times before I said, "That's it." You know, I got to tell her, because I can't see her through her windows, or this person. So I got out. She rolled down her window, and immediately we both started shouting at each other. And her car's small; it's low to the ground.
What were you?
So I had to bend over.
Just a second. What were you saying to her, and what was she saying to you?
Well, we were both shouting.
Expletives.
Yes, I'm not proud of that.
That I can visualize.
Yes.
Okay, and so you leaned over into her car, and you were screaming at each other, which I assume you were. Mm-hmm. You did see her car trying to get back into the lane. Don't say no.
I saw her trying to cut me off.
You saw her trying to either cut you off or get back into the lane. Were your windows tinted?
My back windows are tinted.
Yes. And the front passenger seat?
Kind of tinted, but not as tinted as the back.
Correct.
Yes.
The only one that's not tinted is the windshield.
Yes.
Okay, what kind of car were you driving?
Subaru WRX.
And what happened next?
And I bent down, and I started to point to the lane closure because I wasn't able to make eye contact. So when I finally got her attention, I turned my head and I started pointing that lane was closed when she bashed me with a hydro flask. Only it was a hydro flask that had probably ice in it and water. It was heavy, and it split my lip.
Do you have photographs of your injury?
Yes.
I'd like to see them, please. Thank you. You're welcome.
They're required 2
Just a second. You have hospital record?
Yes.
I see them, please. I'm going to wait for you, Miss Bruce, now to tell me your version of the events of the 31st of July.
Okay. I was in line to get my car washed to continue driving for Uber. It was way before you pay, before you merge. I was over here in the left lane. Miss Belafontaine was in the right lane about a car ahead of me, and she starts cutting me off. She crossed 2 white lines to do it, and I'm still unsure why she was trying to cut me off.
Well, she was trying to get in line ahead of you.
Like an entitled Karen kind of
Just a second. She was trying to get in line ahead of you.
Yes, before you're supposed to. I would understand if it was time to...
No, I understand she was trying to get in line ahead of you.
Yes.
And?
So we were jockeying for position for about 30 seconds. She gets out of her car and walks up to my passenger side window. Had my windows down, so it was nice. I don't like to run my air conditioner waiting in line that long. And she sticks her head in my window. Am I allowed to cuss?
No, I understand you were cursing. She didn't curse.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
What doing? I didn't exchange any words with her. I went into fight and flight mode, picked up a Pringle can, which is the nearest thing I had next to me, bopped her with it. It served its purpose. She got her head out of my car. I pulled away. I didn't feel I needed to be there, and I got away.
The level of your arrogance to me in suing her for your lost wages, the level of your arrogance is astronomical.
I have a kid to support.
I don't care whether you have 10 kids to support.
Savannah Bruce has accused fellow driver Diana Belfontaine of cutting her off at a car wash and filing a false police report. Diana is countersuing, claiming she was assaulted during the confrontation with Savannah.
Okay, do you have a police report? Does anyone have a police report?
Yes. Your Honor, I also have pictures of the car wash where it says please form 2 lanes in the...
I am taking for granted that she either tried to get back into lane or tried to get in front of you. I believe that. I don't believe that that entitles you to pick up a dangerous instrument and strike her with it. Neither did the court that dismissed your case. You originally lied to the police. You.
What did I say?
This is the police report of his conversation with you. I asked Savannah if she hit Diana with any type of water bottle. Savannah denied hitting Diana and stated there was not any physical contact. That's not what you just told me.
That's not what I stated to the police. I said I did not hit her with a water bottle.
That's not what it says here. There was also, in this police report, a statement of a person, neither one of you know the witness, John. I assume not. This is just a person who was behind you in the car wash. That person stated in the police report, John observed as both drivers were merging and not backing down. John watched as Diana, that's you, get out of her car and approach the Subaru. That would be you. John observed Diana get hit with some type of canteen-style water bottle. Diana went back to her car and the Subaru made an 8-point turn and turned around to leave the car wash. John wrote down the license plate of the Subaru. If the witness made that statement that neither one of you know and has absolutely no skin in the game, made this report, and if he was able to see her get hit in the mouth with some sort of a water bottle canteen, then her face was not inside your car because you wouldn't have been able to see that. If her face was inside your car, as you stated it was in your complaint that you filed before me. So, Ms. Bruce, there are a couple of things that I'm going to say to you. First of all, I can actually understand how these things get started, and it's really stupid. But you don't have the right to use a dangerous instrument or something that is not a dangerous instrument, but when utilized by you, became a dangerous instrument, causing injury to somebody. You have no right to do that, because what had happened was bad words, angry words. And the first thing that I remember learning as a child was sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Which means if she called you whatever name she wants to call you, you can't pick up an instrument and use it as a dangerous instrument against another human being. Period. End of discussion. Whatever the words are not sufficient for you to injure somebody. There's another legal inference, and that is when you assault someone, you take the victim with all of their history. In this case, you hit a victim with a cardiac history, and she landed not only in the hospital with a split lip that required suturing, but she also had a heart attack. And the level of your arrogance to me in suing her after this case was dismissed, not on the merits, for your lost wages, is the level of your arrogance is astronomical. Astronomical.
I have a kid to support.
I don't care who you support. She's not responsible for that. You are.
I'm not responsible for
You
her heart
are.
attack.
You are responsible for assaulting her and causing her a split lip and a heart attack because she had had previous heart condition, and this incident that you created by hitting her with that water bottle, not an empty Pringles can, that type of water bottle, so says an independent witness, and causing her injury, you're responsible for that. She's not responsible for you losing your job. You are. You are,
say
and I don't care whether you have 10 kids to support.
May I say something?
Sure.
She was spitting at me, basically. With,
No,
like, cussing out
that's
with
not,
a mask.
don't use the word basically like a 26-year-old. Basically is not what she was doing. She was yelling at you. You said she was yelling at you, and spittle was coming out as she was yelling at you. So you feel threatened. Grow up. You have a kid to support. That means you have to grow up. She doesn't owe you a thing.
So she was.
So your
coming
case,
with-
you asked me if you could ask me a question.
Yeah.
I answered your question. I don't have to answer any more of your questions. You were wrong. I don't say she was right in trying to get in front of you. That's not what I'm here to adjudicate. I'm here to adjudicate your response. And your response was to assault her. And you can't do that. And if you lost your job because of it, good. If that's the kind of temper you have, good. And maybe you have to, maybe because you have an immune-compromised system, you should find another venue to work other than being an Uber driver with a lot of strangers in your car. Maybe. In any event, your case is dismissed. You have a counterclaim for $10,000. That's granted. Judgment on the counterclaim for $10,000. We're finished.
Court is adjourned.
It was definitely self-defense.
The whole thing from the very beginning is just unbelievable.
I was very frightened when this lady came to my car. I thought she was going to possibly shoot me.
Judge Judy said it perfectly. The level of her arrogance is astronomical.
She should know not to be putting herself in that kind of situation.
I'm not a person to be bullied.
I can't even talk right now.
There's a lesson for her in this, you know, to grow up.
Have you ever been the victim of road rage?
Not to this extent, but, you know, I've gotten a few disgruntled looks or yelling from the inside of their car.
It's frightening.
Yeah.
I think that the defendant in this case, although the successful litigant, should have just been smarter. She's older. I just don't understand that if you can avoid that kind of confrontation,
Just let it go.
it's not urgently important. So you'll get to pay for your car wash 30 seconds later. Instead, you end up with a split lip and a heart attack. So a couple of lessons to take away. You stay in.
Sandy Villacana for a vehicle and children's clothing.
All right. Order in the court. Hello, Judge. We have case number 1014, Barrientos versus Villacana.
Thank you. Have a seat, please. Ms. Barrientos, the defendant is your sister.
Yes, ma'am. My older sister.
I want you to explain something to me that I'm curious about, but it also relates to the case, otherwise I wouldn't go into it. There's a 5-year-old child.
Yes, ma'am.
You're raising that child,
Yes, ma'am.
and that's your sister's biological child.
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been raising that child?
Since birth.
You have legal guardianship?
Not full. It's just a power of attorney in the state of Texas. It's specific granted powers to take care of her, but not legal adoption.
Have you applied for legal adoption?
I've looked into it, but it's very costly, and I can't afford that right now.
Who pays for her support?
I do.
Can you tell me the reason why you took custody of your niece when she was born?
Because she's family. She was going to be put up for adoption. In my heart, family needs to stay together, no matter what it takes.
Who is the child's father?
Her ex-boyfriend.
Does he see the child regularly? Mm-hmm. Does he pay any support for the child?
No.
Does he work?
No. He's disabled, so I guess he gets Social Security. But he's a good dad to her.
Has he been legally declared the father of your daughter?
No.
Why not?
He wasn't at the hospital when she was born. He didn't sign her papers or anything, but he is her father.
Well, if he's disabled, what's the nature of his disability?
A pacemaker, so limits his ability to work.
How old is he?
37.
Well, just something for you to explore so that this child can have a certain amount of finality as far as a parent is concerned. If one of her parents is getting Social Security disability, it is possible that the little girl would be entitled to Social Security until she reaches majority. It's something worthwhile to look into if you haven't.
Yes, her father explained that to me. We've
He
already
did?
worked through that.
Did you apply?
I believe he did. We didn't really speak up on the matter. He just asked me for some of her vital information, and I gave it to him, and he said he would work on it.
Okay. And that would mean that you would have to acknowledge that he was the child's father. Okay, good. All right, now let's get to this case. Why don't you tell me what happened with the car?
So March 20th, one of my other sisters texts me, and she tells me that Sandy's car was towed.
That's your car?
Yes.
And I contacted Sandy. This March 20th of that week, I was in school taking midterms. And I contacted Sandy, and I told her what happened to your car. She said it got towed from my apartments. And I told her, well, why didn't you tell me? The reason why I said, why didn't you tell me, is because I want to help. You know, I don't want her to be carless again. And she said, well, I don't know why I didn't. And I said, okay, well, how much is it to get it out? She said, I don't know, but it's been there for 5 days. So for a car to be in a pound for 5 days or so, the price goes up day by day. So I made an offer to her. I said, can you sell me the car for $1,200? I'm not going to loan you the money so you can get the car and use it yourself. She said, okay, that's fine. And I have proof that we made a statement on selling.
May I see that?
Yes. These are text messages on Facebook.
Do you work?
No.
How do you support yourself?
I support myself the way I support myself. I don't know what else to say.
You always supported yourself the way you support yourself? I'm asking you this question because it says...
My sister has helped me in the past, but I support myself.
Well, the reason I'm asking you this question, because what you say in this text is you were talking about the rent moratorium, so I assume you weren't paying rent where you were.
Mm-hmm. I just recently got evicted from my apartment.
For non-payment of rent?
Yes.
Okay. What happened next?
So I left school, picked her up, and we went to the impound to go get it out. First, we stopped at the ATM. Well, have the bank statements of me withdrawing the cash.
You withdrew $1,200?
15.
I was not with her when she withdrew the money.
Were you with her at the impound?
Yes, I
You
was.
had to be with her at the impound. So you were with her at the impound, and did you see the transfer of funds?
No, I waited outside of the office while she paid. I had to go back there to get my vehicle.
Did you know how much she paid?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And what was your arrangement with her?
Our arrangement was...
Look at me. What was your arrangement with her? She was helping you to get your car out. And what was your arrangement with her with regard to this money? Because it was $1,200.
I was going to help her and let her keep the car so she can go to her classes that week.
The arrangement that you want me to believe is that she paid $1,200 for the use of your car for a week. You want me to believe that?
I mean...
You want this face to believe that?
You can believe it.
Just a second. You may get over on some people, but that was not your arrangement. I'm going to give you a minute to take your breath, because she could have taken drivers in a limousine to go to her classes for less than $1,200.
Yes, she could have.
Okay, so the arrangement wasn't that she could use your car for a week to go to class, and in return for that, she would give you $1,200. It just doesn't make sense.
The $1,200 wasn't all paid off. She gave me $200 cash also that day.
So she paid the car?
She paid the car, the place, and gave me $200 cash.
2 or 3?
2.
So she kept $100 for herself?
Yes. She told me to hold it for her.
Whatever. So far that's $1,400. And what happened with the car?
I held on to it.
For how long?
I think it was about 3 or 4 days.
And then what happened?
Can I tell you what our arrangement was?
Yes.
Our arrangement was that she was going to take care of Lillian while I was taking midterms. So I seen it as we were benefiting each other. I'd get the car out for her while she watched Lillian for me so I could study.
So the agreement was that in exchange for getting her car out, she was going to take care of her own daughter for a week while you studied for midterms.
Yes, ma'am.
That was the agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
That's reasonable. Well, it's not reasonable. It's sort of ridiculous, but that I can understand. If you're going to be a liar, you have to be a consistent liar.
I know how to lie, believe me. I'm not
lying. I absolutely know that, madam.
But I'm not lying right now.
I absolutely know that.
And later today.
You knew, Miss Foster, that you weren't driving the car on Monday, and you weren't driving the car on Tuesday, and you weren't driving the car on Wednesday. You see how easy this is, like shooting fish in a barrel.
While studying for midterms, Liliana Barrientos claims her sister, Sandy Villacana, breached an agreement for a car.
Okay, so you agreed to take your daughter
Yes.
while she was studying for midterms. How many days did you have your daughter for the week?
2.
How many days? So you kept her for 2.
2 days.
And then what did you do with her?
The 3rd day, it was nighttime, time to go to bed, and she kept on crying. She kept on crying her dad's name. And I tried for like an hour and a half to get her to go to sleep. She didn't want to go to sleep. She just wanted her dad, her dad, her dad. So I called her dad, and I told him, look, you know I know how to take care of my daughter, but she will not stop crying for you. I don't know what to do. So he told me to go ahead and take her to him. So I took her to her father.
Well, if you're going to be a liar, you have to be a consistent liar.
I know how to lie, believe me. I'm not
Oh,
lying.
I absolutely know that, madam.
But I'm not lying right now, though.
I absolutely know that. A week later, Liliana asked if I could watch Lillian, my biological daughter. Liliana has legal guardianship, but she needed a babysitter during midterms week. So far, we're together. I agreed, but when Lillian came to my house, she refused to obey my rules. I called Liliana to pick her up, and she didn't respond. I had no choice but to take Lillian to her dad's house. I dropped her off there with the clothes that Liliana had brought with her. Well, that's a whole different story. Then, crying, couldn't go to sleep. I want my dad, my dad, my dad. I called her dad, and he said, bring her over. That's a whole different story. This says she wouldn't obey, the 5-year-old, your 5-year-old, wouldn't obey your rules.
By going to sleep when I told her to go to sleep. I don't see what's so funny about that.
Oh, my God. Okay, so you took her to her father, and you said, I want my money back. You broke our agreement. And she came and took her car. That's what happened.
Correct.
And you want your money back.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, well, you breached the agreement. The agreement was she could use the car for a week, you would take care of your daughter for a week, and she would take care of the car. That was your agreement. What?
She never returned the clothes to him.
And she
not
never,
clothes. Not clothes. I'm not.
she
I don't
never
care about.
intended to
I don't
return
care
my
about
car either.
Right now, I don't care about the clothes. Right now, this is a simple contract case, which is very easy for me. You know, despite the blurry lines of truth, it's actually quite simple. You had a contract, according to actually both of you, that you would get her car out of tow and give her a couple of $100 besides, because she was being evicted from her apartment, I gather. And in exchange for that, she would let you use the car, and she was going to take care of her own child for a week. And instead, she brought the child to the biological father's house, who has not been declared the child's biological father, and you got angry with her, and you said, now I want the car back, or I want the money. That's where we're at. Okay, and so far, based upon what you told me, you gave her $1,400. $1,200 is what the tow was. Do you have proof of that?
I have that.
I'd like to see it.
This is for my plates also. She paid that same day.
Okay, so far the tow and the getting it out of impound was $483. Is that what you paid them?
Yes, at the towing facility. That doesn't include what we paid at the dealership to pay for the plates.
The receipt is up there. The $300 is for the plates.
That's $783.
Yes.
Well,
Plus
why
the
would you give her?
200
Shh.
I'm sorry.
Why would you give her $1,200?
I took out extra cash because it was going to go to Lillian's father. I was going to give him money because the Biden tax checks, child credit, I was getting those into my account, and I was taking cash out as well to give to him because I don't.
Why?
Because he deserves half as well.
Why?
Because he takes care of her just as much as I do.
Oh, he does.
Yes.
Well, all it cost you to get the car out was $783.
And I gave her cash on top of that, whatever profit was left over.
You just told me you gave her $200 in cash.
It wasn't $200.
No.
It was
She
$200.
said $200.
It was
she
$200.
She would say that because it was just cash. It was a cash transaction, including another $50 Cash App transaction that she needed that same day.
How much cash did she give you?
$200 cash in my hand.
And she paid to get the car out.
Yes.
And she paid for the plates.
Yes.
Yeah. All of that comes together, $983. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much.
Court adjourned.
I'm glad this situation is over and it's behind me.
I learned how to start saying no.
Lack of communication with each other, it made the situation worse.
Well, we could communicate. She just blocked me on everything.
Should have never did it. I should have did it on my own.
I have a big heart and I always want to help everybody, but I'm not gonna sit there and look stupid.
We can just put this behind us and act like it never happened.
She burned a bridge forever.
There were so many layers to that case. But it was interesting that the biological father of this child doesn't work and gets disability because he has a pacemaker. And yet, according to the plaintiff, he watches the child half the time. Do you know how much energy it takes to watch a 5-year-old?
I do.
Yeah. Can you imagine going to college and taking care of a 5-year-old?
No shot. I give her credit for doing it.
And she gave a good answer. You know, she said, keep your family together. That's pretty responsible. Let's keep your fingers crossed for that baby and hope that baby turns out okay.
Case number 1013, Foster versus Kelly. Please step forward.
De'Erica Foster is suing her cousin, Ronaldo Kelly, for expenses she received after he wrecked her car.
Miss Foster, this is your cousin.
Yes.
There was a period of time, Mr. Kelly, that you were living with your cousin in her home.
Yes, ma'am.
When was that?
It was around the beginning of December in 2020, right into coming to the new year.
How long did you live with her?
For a week.
1 week.
1 week.
Is that right?
Correct.
And during that week, did you use her car?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you have an accident in her car?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you were using her car and you had an accident in the car, did you have her permission to use the car?
Yes, ma'am.
When you were in the car and using the car with her permission, you were dressed with a wig.
Yes, ma'am.
You were pretending to be her.
Yes, ma'am.
Because she had a lift license.
Yes, ma'am.
Whatever they have. What are they called? Do you know? You could drive? You don't know. What is it when you...
Rideshare?
An authorized Lyft driver.
An authorized Lyft driver. You have to take a test for that?
No.
You just have to apply?
Correct.
Do you have to pay any money?
No.
Do you have to give them any money?
No.
I don't understand how this whole thing, things are so complicated. Wish they'd be easier. Ronaldo had been using my Lyft account without my knowledge or permission. Well, that's not true. Right.
Wrong.
What's wrong? What you just told me? You see, you can't have it both ways.
De'Erica Foster claims her cousin, Ronaldo Kelly, wrecked her car while impersonating her as a Lyft driver.
Okay, you were pretending to be someone else in order to make a living.
Yes, ma'am.
You wrote in your answer that you and your cousin agreed that if she let you use her Lyft permit and her car, you would make some extra money.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that so far correct?
That's correct.
And you would split the money with her because you were using her car, her license. You would give her what percentage?
60%.
And you would keep 40 for yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
How many times had you used the car as a Lyft driver during that week you stayed with her?
It was 6 days, from Monday through Saturday.
And this accident happened on Saturday?
Night.
Saturday night. So on Monday, how much money did you make?
I would say a range around maybe $130 or maybe like $140. It was somewhere around that range.
How does that work? Does the customer pay you?
Yes, they'll pay you for picking them up.
They pay you in cash or they put it on an app?
They put it on the app.
It's so confusing.
They do they do it with the app.
So they pay you and it goes right into your account?
Yes, ma'am.
And on Tuesday when you worked, and they put it in your account?
Right, well, they put it
or
in
they
her,
put it in her
account, right.
Okay, so now it's in her account.
Yes.
Did she give you money?
Yes, she did give me money to furnish for gas.
Okay, she gave you money, but she also gave you money for working, I assume, from her account.
Yes, the 40%.
Did she give that to you every day?
Every day, yes, ma'am.
So the money actually went into her account on Monday, so she saw it on Monday. Now let's go to Tuesday. Tuesday, did you work?
Yes, ma'am.
You remember about how much money you made on Tuesday?
It was perfect, around the same thing, like maybe $120, $30 that day too as well.
And when it goes into your account, it's December of 2020, so you have it added up by month or by week or by day?
By day.
By day.
So you saw that money in your account on Monday?
Yes.
Yes. And you saw the money in your account on Tuesday?
Yes.
And on Wednesday?
Yes.
Now, you knew, Miss Foster, that you weren't driving the car on Monday, right?
Yes.
And you weren't driving the car on Tuesday. Right. And you weren't driving the car on Wednesday. You see how easy this is, like shooting fish in a barrel? Let me tell you what you wrote in your complaint. Ronaldo is my cousin. He moved to Atlanta. He came to work with me. I was working from home, not using my vehicle. He asked if he could borrow my car to earn some money by making food deliveries. A few days later, he informed me he was in an accident. At first, he said someone hit my car. After investigation, it was revealed that Ronaldo had been using my Lyft account without my knowledge or permission. Well, that's not true. I used to be a Lyft driver, so when he asked to borrow my iPad, he discovered my Lyft account, which included a photo. That's also not true. Right.
Wrong.
What's wrong? What you just told me? You see, you can't have it both ways. What you just told me was on Monday, money got deposited in your account by your cousin who was driving your car as a Lyft driver. You weren't driving your car. You knew you weren't driving the car, and it wasn't coming to you for making food deliveries. On Tuesday, you had money put in your Lyft account. You gave him money on both Monday and Tuesday, or Tuesday and Wednesday, the day afterwards. So when you say he used your Lyft account without your knowledge, that's not true. That's what you wrote in your complaint. That's what you swore to. Do you want to read it?
I know what I wrote.
Is that the truth?
That's what I wrote?
No, well, I want to know if what you wrote is the truth,
Well,
or what's here is the truth.
Supposedly he had his own rideshare account because he did a background check. So you can register, my vehicle can be registered up under someone else's account. So he lied to me about what was actually going on.
Oh, I don't believe that at all, Miss Foster. I don't believe that at all.
Okay.
You had an accident with your car. You had insurance on the car?
I did.
And they disclaimed it because they said you two were involved in a fraud. Because he was driving with your permission, which he clearly was, based upon what he tells me. He was driving with your permission. He had an accident, and your insurance company disclaimed. Absolutely right. Just tell me about the accident.
So basically, I was had a customer in the car. I was taking him to his location, and I was following the GPS at the time. And he told me that I could find another direction quicker than the GPS. So once he told me that, I got off track on the GPS, and I tried to go the way he was telling me to go. And I was in a 2-turn lane signal, left lane, and I was in the right side lane. So when I made the left, I ended up trying to cross back over into the inside left lane, and that's when the vehicle from the inside came through and hit me. Well, I hit them because I was trying to get back on track to go where he was telling me to go instead of following my GPS.
You don't own a car?
No, ma'am.
Did they tow her car?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it totaled?
I believe it was, because the accident was pretty bad.
Was the other car damaged severely?
No, ma'am. Only the trailer. Actually, the truck didn't hit the car. It was the trailer he was carrying.
You drove down the side of the truck.
Is what?
You lied to me and told me that, oh, somebody just hit your car. And I get there and, whoa, you just clearly drove down the trailer all the way to the end of the truck. So you started out lying.
No, Miss Foster, you started out lying. You started out lying when you signed the complaint, and you said you did not know that he was using your Lyft license and pretending to be you, which is clearly not true, because he gave you money every single day that he drove, so he wasn't giving you money as a gift. You were complicit in this fraud. That's why the insurance company disclaimed, and that's why I'm dismissing your case. We're finished. Thank you.
Court adjourned.
A spade is a spade, and if you don't like what I say, hit the highway.
I hate that the situation happened with the car and everything, but you know, I told my truth, and I just feel like she made the right decision. You know.
No, I was not fully aware.
Well, basically, I had a wig on and I had a mask on, so people really couldn't tell who it was.
I don't want to talk about it. I mean, it's done deal now.
Things went wrong. Family member trying to help me out, and an accident just basically happened.
He could stay away from me, far away. Hit the highway.
Oh, that's my cousin. I love her to death, and I hope our relationship get back right.
I don't know, Sarah. I don't remember what class in law school when I learned about the doctrine of clean hands.
Contracts, most likely.
Contracts, most likely. In this case, it was clear that she couldn't keep her story straight, so she combines two things.
Mala Turturelli for personal belongings.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judy enters.
Be seated, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Good. Case number 248, Bolio versus Thompson's Turkey Valley.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How old are you, Miss Bilio?
I'm 31.
You have 2 kids?
I have 3 children.
3. How old are they?
I have a 10-year-old daughter and 2 sons that are 4 and 5.
What kind of work do you do?
I stay at home with my children.
And how long have you been staying at home?
Since my first son was born.
So for 5 years?
Yep, my first son.
And what had you done before?
Housekeeping, and while I was pregnant with both my sons, I did do beet harvest.
There came a time, sometime, I think, was it last year, that you needed a place to stay.
Yes.
2021.
Yep.
Why?
September 29th of 2020, me and my boyfriend had broken up, so I had stayed in a shelter.
Is your boyfriend the father of either
Yes.
one of these
Yep.
children?
All my children have the same father. Me and him had broken up at the time, and I left from where we were staying at the time. Our living was West Fargo to the YWCA right away, the homeless shelter. And I was there for like 6 months. And during that time, I had met Carmela, and me and her became friends. And I had introduced her to my brother. And then I moved away for a little while in April, and I came back like the end of May.
Where did you move to?
I went to Texas.
What's in Texas?
A friend.
Where did you meet him?
Here in Fargo when I was 14 years old.
So what brought you to Texas?
That's where he was living, and he told me if I wanted to come live with him there, I could.
You didn't have a job in Texas?
He did.
You?
No, I did not.
And from when to when were you living in Texas?
I left April 15th, and I was there until like...
Of 2021?
Yeah. And then I moved back beginning of June, kind of. And then...
Beginning of June of the same year?
Yes.
So you stayed there for 3 months?
Yeah.
And you moved with your children?
Yep, all 3 of them.
Yep is not an answer.
Yes, all 3 of my children I moved.
Okay, so you took them out of school in April?
My daughter.
Took her out of school in April?
Yep, I did.
Yep is not an answer.
Yes. And we moved.
You took her out of school in April to go to Texas to live with a friend that lasted 2 months. The fact is you took your daughter out of school. I'm just trying to figure out who I'm dealing with.
Yes, because I had nowhere to live.
Well, there's a big place, but where do you live, in what state?
Minnesota.
In Minnesota?
Yeah.
Well, there's a big difference between Texas and Minnesota. And also, there's only 2 months between April, when school is still in session, and June, when it's over.
Yes, I know this.
Yeah, you know this. You're aware of this.
Yes.
Okay. I set this up because I really want to find out what I'm dealing with here. Now, I sort of know. In any event, you had no place to go. Your brother contacted you. You contacted him, and he invited you to come and live with him.
Yes, he did.
All right. That's what he did. You and your 3 children.
Nope, just me and my 2 boys.
So you were going to live with your brother and his girlfriend with your 2 children.
Yes.
You got there when?
October.
Of 2021.
Yes.
Case is relatively simple. Case involves your claim that they have property that belongs to you. And they have a cross complaint that they probably would not have brought but for the fact that you're suing them. Because I think that they're just happy that you're gone. You moved in with them in October of 2021 and paid no regular rent.
The agreement between me and my brother was to buy food for the house and to give him money when I can.
Okay, now you weren't working. Now you weren't working, so how are you going to buy food for the house?
I was on assistance through Minnesota, so I got SNAP.
So you got food stamps?
Yes, and then I had child support. Well, I was on child support, but I wasn't getting the money. I didn't start getting money until February of 2022. And that's when I start giving him money every so often.
In October of 2021, you were not getting child support.
No.
You were getting food stamps, which you said you would share with your brother.
Yep.
Who lives, not yep is not an answer, who lives with his girlfriend, and how many children?
We have no children.
No children at all?
We have dogs.
That's fine. So you were sharing some of your food stamps with your brother and his girlfriend?
All of my food stamps went to the house.
Well, that's where you were living.
Yep. Yes, it was.
Yes, that's where you were living, with your 2 children.
Yes.
Okay. What kind of work do you do, sir?
I'm currently unemployed.
And what does your girlfriend do?
She works for a cleaning service.
Okay. Now, there came a time that you got a substantial amount of money from the government. What month and year was that?
Just this past April.
How much did you get from the government?
It was taxes.
What kind of taxes? You haven't worked in 5 years.
It was the child tax credit, and I did work when I moved back from Texas.
You told me you hadn't worked in 5 years. I want to know what you got money from the federal government for. That's what your brother says. And I was curious, that's why I asked you the questions about working.
It is.
So don't make it up.
It slipped my mind.
What?
I'm sorry.
So that
did
doesn't
do
slip your mind.
I did housekeeping, laundry in a hotel when I moved back from Texas with my mother.
Month? You worked from June 2021 until, we'll find out.
Until like mid-June because I did not have a babysitter for my children.
So you worked for a couple of weeks?
Yes.
How much money did you get from the federal government in April of 2022?
Like $11,000 from the government for child tax credit.
So you got $11,000, not from working, not that it slipped your mind, because 2 weeks may slip your mind because that's what you worked, if you worked at all. $11,000, you got child care credits. How much did you get for each of your 3 children?
I only filed for 2 of my children.
How much did you get for the 2 boys?
I believe $3,000 for each of them.
That's $6,000. Where's the other 5?
That came to me for the stimulus checks because I did not receive the last stimulus check. They said that my boys did not receive the refund that was coming to them for the stimulus too. So that was all.
So your boys got. Let me understand. Let me understand why this country is in such a fiscal morass today. So you got $3,000 for child care credit for each of your children, and the other $5,000 came because you went to an accounting firm, and they said, well, you should have gotten stimulus money for your boys.
Yes.
And you missed that, so we're going to put in for it. So they sent you another 5, or they sent you...
They sent it all together on one.
Okay. All together on one. So that you had plenty of time to go and take care of.
Yes.
Right.
Your judge actually have proof of how much she did get.
Jordan hands a document to Kevin.
Now, when you got this $11,000, that $11,000 was supposed to help get you through COVID.
Yes.
Paying your bills, paying for rent, buying clothes for your children. So you got this money in April of 2022, $11,400. Okay. And then you went on vacation. In what month and year did you go on vacation?
April of 2022.
So the minute you got the money, according to you,
I start looking for a vehicle.
You bought a car?
I started looking for a vehicle.
So you started to look for a car. Now, you've been without a car for a while, but you started looking for a car.
Yep.
And also in April, you asked your friend, your brother's girlfriend, if she would watch your 2 children.
Me and her had a discussion before April.
You didn't go until after you got the money.
Yes.
You knew you were getting the money before April because you were going to apply for it.
Yes.
Yes.
But when I got the thing where it said I was getting the money back, it didn't say that much.
$11,400. So you decided to go on vacation. Where did you go?
I went to Colorado.
Where in Colorado?
Up in the Denver area.
How did you get there?
I was with a friend and they drove.
Male or female friend?
Male.
So you went with a male friend to Colorado for how long?
I was there for a week.
What does this friend do for a living?
I'm not really sure.
You don't know whether this friend works or not?
I met him last year and I kept in contact with him throughout the whole year. And then we just got back in contact February of beginning of 2022.
And you don't know what he does for a living?
I'm not really sure what he was doing for work.
Caption, coming up.
You have no right to give away any of her property, whether you think somebody deserves it more than she deserves it. That doesn't require an answer. I'm telling you what the rule is.
Carmela smirks. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Alyssa, Jordan, and Carmela.
Alyssa Bolio claims her brother, Jordan Thompson, and his girlfriend, Carmela Turturelli, owe for the value of her personal belongings.
Okay, so you went away for a week, and according to what I read, you made arrangements with your friend, your brother's girlfriend, to take care of your 2 children, and you agreed to pay her $400 for the week.
Yes.
And then you went away for the week in April. Did you come back after a week?
Yes, I did.
On what date did you return?
The Saturday right before Easter.
Date?
April 19th, Your Honor.
And then what happened?
I came home and I talked...
April 19th?
Yep, I came home on April 19th and I talked to my brother and Carmela. I stayed at the house for a little while because my boys were not there when I got home.
What a little while?
I stayed at the house for maybe 2 hours and got all my stuff into the house, and my boys were not there. So I believe I went to my sister's house and to my mother's house, and I did not know where my boys were.
Just a second. If your two boys weren't in the house...
I had asked them where they were.
You asked them where you were and they told you it was a secret?
No, I asked them where my children were, and they said that they had went with their father.
So you knew where they were?
When I got home, I knew where they were. I didn't know that they had left previous to me arriving home.
When you got home from being away with a new friend in Denver, and you said, where are my boys? Duh, where are my boys? They're with their dad. So you went to your sister and mother's house, and then what happened?
And then the next morning, we left to the cities, and...
The next morning?
On Easter Sunday.
On Easter Sunday, who's we?
Me and the friend.
What friend?
My friend that I went to Denver with.
So you went where?
Minneapolis.
How far a ride is that?
4-hour drive.
You intend to stay over there?
No. We were going to go visit some of his friends and then come back. But next thing I remember was waking up in the hospital. And I contacted my brother when I did.
You have the hospital records?
No, I do not. I contacted them.
You have, just a second, you have an admission record?
No.
Do you have a bill from them?
No, because I don't get billed.
Of course you get bills. When you leave the hospital, they say either you owe us this amount of money, that's what you get when you're discharged from the hospital. You may not be able to get hospital records, but it would certainly be interesting, madam, for me to know what. The next thing I knew after you were going with your friend to the cities to see some of his friends, you don't know anything until after you wake up in a hospital.
As soon as I woke up, I contacted my brother.
What date?
I'm not sure. I don't remember exact dates.
I mean, you have 3 children. What do you mean you don't know what date?
I don't know the exact dates, but I did contact him as soon as I was able to, because I did not have my own phone.
Don't you see how irresponsible this whole story is for a person who has 3 children?
Yes.
How totally irresponsible it is. And what is sad about it is you appear to be an intelligent person who just seems to go from one place to another based upon, well, I used to know him in Texas, I used to know him in Colorado, I used to know him here, I'll leave my 2 boys with Camilla.
And we don't have no children, so we're taking care of her children while she's out running around doing whatever.
I didn't ask you anything. Okay. I can actually visualize the picture, and sadly, so can you. What date did she finally contact you after she disappeared again?
So a Thursday after Easter Sunday.
The Thursday after Easter Sunday, so that's the
21st of April. Is the Thursday after Easter this year.
It was actually Monday, the 25th.
We got records.
That's when I came home.
I don't care. I just want to know when you showed up again.
I contacted my brother, and I let him know what had happened. And then he was asking about our father, like I was supposed to go pick up our father.
I don't care. Now let's get to the lawsuit. Now that I understand the characters that I'm dealing with, it is your claim that your brother and or his girlfriend took some of your property, didn't give you all your property that you should have had, because they finally said, we've had enough of you and your shenanigans, goodbye.
I did not start leaving the house until that April. I was in the house the whole time with my boys. I've asked them maybe to watch them overnight a couple times, but that's it.
I don't care. They had enough of you. You didn't pay rent. They could say to you, goodbye, we tried to do our best, you took advantage of us, goodbye. Now, that being said, you stayed with them for how many months and didn't pay them any rent, any utilities? How many months? You and your boys?
4.
4 months.
Because I started paying my brother in February.
Paying him what?
Money. I gave him money.
No, I don't want to know who gave him money. Rent. I know that at your age, maybe you think you're too young. Maybe you're too young. They either rent their house, they have a mortgage on their house, they have things that they have to pay.
We did not agree upon a set amount for every month. We did not agree upon.
Well, don't you think you should agree on a certain amount every month? You just came into $11,000.
And it was actually way more than 4 months.
You just came into $11,000. You've been living off somebody else's largesse. You just came into $11,000 that I gave you, or they gave you, but you certainly didn't work for. So you say to at least the person who you're staying with, listen, I'm going to give you a couple of $100s a month just to cover my share of the expenses because you're 2 people and we're 3.
I gave him $400 when I got my taxes. As soon as I got it, I gave him money.
Did you pay Camilla for watching the children?
Yes, I did.
$400?
Yes.
Okay. Did she pay you?
Yes.
She says in her complaint that you sold a computer of hers. She says you felt that she owed you more money because you actually watched the children for a longer period of time than the week that she paid you for when she doesn't remember where she was. Did you sell her computer?
I actually gave it away.
No, I don't believe that.
I did. And it's not
Well, why
her
would you give it
computer.
away? That's just spiteful.
Because it was family, and...
What do you mean it was family?
It was family.
I am not your family.
I don't want you to speak. You have no right to give her things away.
It wasn't hers, and I have proof right here.
Whose was it?
Who knows? I guess her friends.
That doesn't matter. It was in her possession.
It was in our possession, actually.
It was. She left it with us when she left.
No.
Left it at the house.
No. That you may think is in your possession.
She asked me to sell it for her.
What?
She even asked me to sell it for her.
But it was not
Just
in your
a second.
possession. It was in my room.
Madam.
Yes.
If she asked you to sell it for her, then you don't give it away.
Well,
if she says, sell my computer for me, then you sell it. Then you don't say, I can't sell it, so I'm just going to give it away.
I gave it to one of the kids in the family that I thought could use it way more than her trying to use it to bail out her friend from jail.
That's not...
And she owed me a whole bunch more money.
Who died and left you boss?
Well, me in the house, because it was our house.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
You met her in a shelter.
Yes.
How long have you lived in that house that you're currently living in?
August of 2018, to be exact.
Before that, the lease was in my name.
What part of I don't want to hear you? So you moved into his house?
Yes.
Right, so it's not your house.
Well.
It's his house. And since you're not his wife, you're his girlfriend, for now, you have no right to sell or give away any of her property, whether you think somebody deserves it more than she deserves it. That doesn't require an answer. I'm telling you what the rule is.
Oh.
Caption coming up.
You wanted them to sell your TV, jacket, and all of this is so that you can get him out of jail.
Yes.
Oh.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Alyssa, Jordan, and Carmela.
Alyssa Bolio has accused her brother, Jordan Thompson, and his girlfriend, Carmela Turchiarelli, of wrongfully selling her belongings. Jordan and Carmela claim Alyssa gave them permission to remove her property.
Now, you have no right to go into somebody else's bag. If they gave you instructions and you accepted those instructions, please sell my computer for me, which is what you just said. Isn't that what she just said?
It is what she just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sell my computer for me, and you decided not to sell it, but just to give it to somebody else in the family who could better benefit from it. You got to pay for the computer. Period.
She owed me money.
Period.
I have the evidence.
Just a second.
Okay.
Just a second. That's a different story. Carmela, let me tell you something, sir. You look like a very nice guy. You look like a very nice guy. I would unload her as fast as I could.
Oh.
I'm just telling you.
Wow.
I'm just telling you. Because first she says, I gave it away. Let's understand what she says. First she said, I gave it away. Then she said, she told me to sell it, right?
Yes.
Then she said, I gave it to somebody who I thought could use it better than she was using it. Now, I'm going to ask you, Kevin, to go get the 2 pieces of paper that she wants me to review that she owed her money, and then I'm going to go back and explain to your lovely Carmela, listen to me, sir.
I'm listening.
Who I would think twice about.
Carmela shakes her head. Judy reviews the document.
Well, I don't see anything about a computer here. I see that you wanted them to sell your TV, jacket, and all of this is so that you can get him out of jail.
Yes.
Oh. I didn't see anything about the computer. I see the TV, I see a jacket.
Here, it's right here.
Just a second. It's not in the ones you gave me, but I'm glad you gave that to me because I have some indication that she did, in fact, ask you to start selling stuff because this is the same person that you went to the cities with.
Yes, and...
yes, when you forgot where you were and woke up in a hospital.
Yes.
Judy shakes her head.
Okay, found someone who wants that digital graphic computer. So can you put it in the living room or by my door? So you were going to sell your digital computer.
Yes.
Was it his computer?
It was, but he had given it to me.
So you wanted to sell it?
Yes.
And you say, I'm not giving it to you until you pay me what you owe me for childcare, because you felt as if she should pay you more money because you watched the children longer than a week.
And there's a couple other reasons.
And whatever, and a pair of shoes. I don't care anything about that. You have a bill for the computer?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it.
Alyssa produces a document, then hands it to Kevin. He brings it to Judy, who reviews it.
No, I don't like this, because the date was changed. The date the order was placed was to April 18th, 2022. So this is not a legitimate, it may be a legitimate price, but it says order placed on April 18th, 2022. You want to take a look at that? Because that's phony. Somebody changed that. No, somebody changed it. Okay. Do you understand?
Yes.
When did you get it?
I got it in April.
I don't believe this. Take a look.
Judy hands the document to Sarah.
When did he go to jail?
The 25th
of
April.
What?
Of April.
And you left on vacation with him when?
A week before Easter, so I'm not really sure.
A week before Easter, Sarah. What's the date?
The week before Easter, the previous Sunday would be the 10th, April 10th.
April 10th. And you were away for a week?
Yes.
And then you don't remember where you were?
No, that was the second week.
That was the second week?
Yes. I was in Colorado for the full week, and I came back the day before Easter, and then I left on Easter Day, and then
And when did you get this computer? You see, that's what I'm asking you. When could you possibly have gotten this computer if the bill...
This is dated the 18th.
Of April.
Which I believe they said was the day she came back.
When could you have possibly gotten it from him?
I ordered it for him. I paid for it, and then he gave it to me.
Listen, I suggest you both get your acts together. You get nothing from your brother. Just consider yourself very, very lucky that he took care of you and that he let you come into his house. I would suggest you not do it again, and maybe she'll get smart. She has 3 children. She'd like to raise them together. She should get a job. Find a way of making a living. Figure it out, because you made 3 children. They have a right to a certain amount of stability.
And they all are stable.
That's not stability.
That is
Get it together. Oh, well, sometimes you can't get through to people. They're that kind of thick, and that's why we are where we are in this country. Do you understand?
Yes,
Think
sir.
twice. I know you tried to be a good brother.
Yep.
Think twice about doing it again. By the way, does your mother work?
Yes.
And it mentioned something about a father. What kind of work did your father do?
I don't really remember.
He was a logger.
Both your parents work.
Yep.
Good. Evidently, it didn't rub off. Thank you very much. Your case is dismissed, as is your counterclaim.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Alyssa, then Carmela and Jordan.
I'm okay with it.
She was the friend, and I love her children. And really, it wasn't about her. It was about them kids.
He won't talk to me because of her.
You need a job, you need to
Change.
Something needs to change with her.
I don't really care.
Hopefully she does figure it out. The kids deserve it. He deserves it. He's a good brother.
Judy and Sarah.
You know, that case takes me back to my family court days. And I only have one observation other than the fact that I'm what should be society's frustration with this, which is once you have children, you have the responsibility. Your sole responsibility is to make sure that your children are taken care of. You have to say, listen, my social life takes a back seat. Everything else takes a back seat. But I have 3 little kids, and they are my priority. So I have to do whatever I can to put my life in order. And she clearly has her priorities.
For truck damage.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judy.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case 2095, Gonzalez versus Gilbert.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Judy turns to Bobby.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes, ma'am.
You're seeking substantial amount of money to refurbish your car after it was hit by the defendant's car while your car was parked.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendants are seeking the same amount of money because they say that despite the fact that one of them did in fact hit your parked car, it was your fault. That's your defense.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, who was driving?
I was driving.
Okay. Mr. Gilbert, on what date did this incident happen?
February 3rd.
What time?
About 5:30 in the morning.
Who was in the car with you?
Nobody. I was by myself. I was going to pick up my son.
You were going to pick up your son from where?
From his mother's house to take him to school.
And where does he go to school that he has to be there at 5:30 in the morning?
He doesn't have to be there at 5:30. I have to leave at 5:30 to get him there by 7.
Do you take him to school every day?
No.
What was different about February 3rd?
His mother, stepfather, and the rest of their family was out of town. They had asked me to take him to school that day.
Just for that one day?
Yep.
Yep is not an answer.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
is an
Your
answer. Okay, so it's about 5:30 in the morning, and?
I left my house. It was
Look at me.
raining. It was cold. It's pretty much the same route I take every day, not at that same time. I was approaching a stop sign at an intersection by the plaintiff's house, and I seen, I guess, either a reflection or what I thought were lights headed in my direction, so I swerved. And
Okay, you're still traveling, so you're moving. Does somebody have a diagram of where this happened?
Yeah.
There it is. Okay. You were approaching a stop sign.
Yeah, I was approaching an intersection.
So right
Were you there?
No, ma'am.
Sit down.
Yes, ma'am.
Heather sits.
You were approaching an intersection.
Yeah.
It's a two-way road.
Yeah.
And it looks to me from that, is that an accurate representation?
Yeah, except for there was another vehicle on the other side of the road.
Okay, but it looks to me that you're traveling sort of in the middle of the road.
Yeah, it floods.
Okay, and a car is coming from something. You're not sure what.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what. It
We're
was
not sure what.
And I swerved. I
you
just got over to the proper side of the road.
And your car swerved, and when your car swerved, it hit that blue car that's sitting there. That's the plaintiff's car that was sitting in front of his house.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh, is not an
Yes, ma'am.
answer. Yes, okay. Now, do you want to tell me what you did next?
I went through the intersection, turned around to follow what I thought might have been a vehicle headed my direction. And when I didn't see a vehicle, I took my vehicle home. I parked it. I got my insurance information, my driver's license, and I walked back to his house to trade insurance information with him.
Okay. You have a video of this incident?
Yes, ma'am.
From where?
From my surveillance cameras.
Is it set up for me to watch it
Yes,
here?
ma'am. Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm ready. That's your car, sir?
Yes.
Okay, let's see that again.
Footage of a collision.
Notice how the truck is covered.
Okay, so you hit the plaintiff's car hard enough to push it up on the curb.
Speed limit is 30 miles an hour.
I've just asked you a question.
Yes, ma'am.
It looks as if you hit it hard enough to push it up on the curb.
Yes, I did.
But you told me a moment ago, Mr. Gilbert, and you just piped in that the speed limit there is 30 miles an hour. You said you were slowing down for a stop sign.
I said I was approaching a stop sign.
Well, when you're approaching a stop sign, you don't approach a stop sign at 30 miles an hour, especially if it's in a neighborhood that you've been in. But according to you, you drive that neighborhood regularly.
Yep.
However, not at that time. That's what you said.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you are approaching a stop sign, when I approach a stop sign, and if I know there's a stop sign there, I start applying my brakes a little bit before. Now, I do drive with some people who sort of like to play chicky with a stop sign, you know. Maybe the stop sign is going to move. Maybe it's going to become a welcome mat. So they wait until they get right up to it and put their brakes on. But that's not what you told me you did.
No, ma'am.
Okay, so now I'm going to say, if you were going very slowly, sir, approaching a stop sign, you wouldn't have hit his car with such force that you push him up on the curb. Okay, your defense is to this action, as I said, that he was parked and he had this car that was covered, and it was parked facing the wrong direction, which is totally irrelevant as to was facing the wrong
according to
direction.
Texas state
It
law.
was on. It's covered over, so you don't know which direction it was facing in. Certainly, the light wasn't on it. If you're
I've passed this.
I didn't ask you for anything. You weren't there.
Yes, ma'am.
You weren't there.
Yes, ma'am, but
She lives in the neighborhood. She drives by it every day.
Just a second. What do I need that for? I have a video.
Okay.
I have a video.
Can you see the stop sign in the video? No. You have no idea how close I was.
You just told me you were approaching a stop sign.
Yeah,
Would
there
you
is
read
a
that
stop
back to
sign.
me?
There is a stop sign.
Would you read that back to me? I was approaching a stop sign. Does he say I slowed down? I was approaching a stop sign. I don't remember.
It's about.
I didn't say. I did not
now
say.
you can leave.
I did not say I was slowing down.
Now You can leave.
Heather leaves.
I did not say I was slowing down. I said I was approaching a stop sign.
Okay, that's what I thought. But that's why we have Whitney.
Let's see, he says he was approaching a stop sign at an intersection by the plaintiff's house, and I can see either a reflection or what I see lights headed in my direction, so
Okay,
I swerve.
now I would like to see that video again one more time. I would like to see if I see something coming towards you. Actually, I don't see another vehicle coming towards you. Is that a truck parked there?
It's a food truck behind it. It's like catty corner to his vehicle. There's a food trailer there that had all of the light, like right.
A food truck on the other side of the street.
Yes, ma'am.
A food truck that you could see, but that's parked.
Well, I assume since there was no actual lights coming, I assume maybe that's what light reflected off of.
You don't assume anything. All you know is you saw something that made you swerve.
Yes, ma'am.
Whether it was there or not there. So am I getting the fact that your total defense is based on the fact that his car shouldn't have been parked there?
Yes, ma'am. Or covered.
Yeah, well, but that's a finable offense, Mr. Gilbert. That's a finable offense.
If it doesn't cause an accident.
No, I don't think it caused the accident. You caused the accident.
How did I
You
cause
caused the accident. This is an inert object.
According to my HOA guidelines, that vehicle is supposed to be in his garage. According to Texas state law, it's not supposed to be on the road.
And I'm going to tell you, I absolutely agree with you that that's a finable offense if his car is parked.
So
You're trying to interrupt me.
Okay.
That it's a finable offense. The question is his car being parked illegally the proximate cause of this accident? That's the question. Would that be a fair?
It is.
I didn't ask you a question unless you went to law school.
Huh? No, ma'am,
unless you went to law school. Am I in the realm? You're closer than that, was Palsgraf versus Long Island Railroad. His car may have been parked in the wrong spot. Yeah. If you had somebody that left a baby carriage with a baby on the street, which is certainly against the law and would be a neglectful act on the part of the parent, and if you happen to swerve up to avoid something and hit that baby carriage, you can't say that baby carriage is the cause of the accident.
No,
you're the cause of the accident.
No, the owner of the baby carriage is.
No, you are.
No, they are.
So
how am I responsible for their baby carriage?
Because your car is moving, sir, and if you're approaching a stop sign, you're not supposed to be going.
If the vehicle wasn't covered, you could see the reflectors that are on it. That's what they're there for.
Reflectors on what?
Reflectors on the truck that's covered. They have headlights, turn signals, everything that's reflective that you could see. There was no reflectors or signals for me to see to know it was there.
You would have hit it whether it was covered or not.
Of course.
Very good. May I please see the...
That's horse. I wouldn't have hit it could I seen it.
Kevin, I want to see what he's got as far as work for the car.
Kevin retrieves a document from Bobby, then brings it to Judy.
Okay, so this is clearly a project car, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's it don't run.
Get him out of here.
Let's go.
He's done. He's done.
Okay.
Thank you, Lord.
Kevin escorts John out.
Oh, that makes my life so much easier.
Bobby grins.
And later today.
You wanted to go. There was no reason why you couldn't. That's why you drive a motorcycle, because you can get into tight places and you can go. But you look like an intelligent young woman.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Don't take chances. That was a chance. It could have been a lot worse.
A woman nods. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Bobby.
Bobby Gonzalez claims his neighbor, John Gilbert, hit his classic pickup truck. John is countersuing for car damage and harassment.
By the way, both the defendant and his wife have a counterclaim. Their counterclaim is for damages to their car and for harassment. Well, since neither one of them can keep control of themselves, the counterclaim is dismissed. I'm looking at this truck, Mr. Gonzalez. When did you purchase it, sir, and from whom?
In October of last year. I purchased it online.
Do you have the bill of sale from when you purchased it?
I don't have the bill of sale, but on the paperwork, I have the post on Facebook on how much I paid for it. It was for $8,000.
Okay.
I also have an appraisal on there as well.
I see the appraisal, but I don't have what it's going to take to fix the spot where he damaged the car. He damaged the car in this whole side end.
Yes.
I mean, he's not going to give you a classic car.
Well, I know.
That's not going to happen.
I know.
Okay. That's not going to happen. And certainly, you do understand that I'm not awarding you anything close, even though they're two obnoxious people, anything close to $10,000. You do understand that, Mr. Gonzalez. You're going to have to get this car fixed right now. I'm looking. Where is a invoice for either the work you had done or an estimate to fix that part of the car that he injured?
I cannot give that to you because
Well, then I don't have it,
the
sir.
vehicle is a classic. It's very hard to find that type of vehicle.
Well, then what you're asking me is to guess, sir.
Well, I can give you the rates as far as how much I'm
You
gonna have.
can't give me anything.
Okay.
You have to take the car in to somebody who deals with classic cars. This is a 70-year-old truck, and it's certainly beat up. You had it covered for a long time. It shouldn't have been on the street. You do know that. And I assume that since it's not driven, you didn't have it insured.
Well, I took it out for Halloween, you know, just for the kids.
Well, I mean, where do you suggest that I conjure up a figure of $10,000 when you have a car that's a year old that has never been driven, that you take out and it's a Halloween ornament? So let me explain this to you. I have to guess at a figure. I would be prepared to award you $2,000 to fix your car because I did see that it had to be damaged as a result of the damage to the defendant's car. If you feel as if you would fare better in your local small claims court where this case came from, because I have dismissed their counterclaim, I will dismiss your case without prejudice and you can take it back to the lower court. Take your choice.
I'll go ahead and take it from you. I know I'm not going to get anything from them.
Very good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,000. Counterclaims dismissed. Fix your car. Thank you.
This court is adjourned. Well, I didn't agree on the price, but with them kind of people, I'm not going to get my money back. It's time to get it repaired.
I think you have to be a certain kind of person to not take any accountability when you hit a stationary object. I'll admit, I think that it was probably a 90%, 10% split, 10% plaintiff's fault for parking on the street. I looked up the section code in Texas and did find that if you leave a car longer than 5 days on the street, you're in violation of a code. But like you tried to explain to the very hot-headed defendant, that's a finable offense. That doesn't mean you can ram into it with your vehicle and not be at fault. I just don't know how you take zero accountability after hitting a stationary object.
I don't know either, but that's, I think, a problem with a country that's grown up in the last 50 years, that it's never your fault.
Yep.
It's always somebody else. It's the state's fault. It's the city's fault. It's somebody else's fault. And it's sad because I know that there was lots of acrimony between the two of them without it. But they were hotheads. Is this the first time you ever saw me send somebody out?
A long time.
Yeah,
long time since I've seen it.
Yeah.
But when they're clearly not getting the message and they're being hostile, that's not the proper way to come to court.
No.
Especially when you're in the wrong.
All right, but they have to live near each other. I hope that they sort of get it together.
Just keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Case 2067, Garcia versus Taryn. All parties, please step forward.
Amari Garcia is suing fellow motorist April Taryn for damages from a motorcycle accident.
This is a case that's about an automobile-motorcycle collision. Each one of you claims that the other is responsible for the collision. Ms. Garcia, you were riding the motorcycle?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were in your car?
Yes.
Okay. And this happened on what date?
March 21st, 2022, around 3 p.m.
In what state?
California.
In the state of California, are you required to have insurance on a motorcycle?
Yes, Your Honor.
Just liability?
Liability if it's paid for in full, correct. Yes, Your Honor.
And were you insured on that date?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you were driving a car?
Yes.
And was your car insured on March 21st, 2022?
Not at the time.
So the answer is no?
No.
Did you have a valid driver's license on March 21st, 2022?
Yes.
From what state?
California.
What kind of car were you driving?
A 2011 Nissan Sentra.
Was it a new car for you, or did you have it for a while?
It's a new car. I purchased it 3 weeks prior to the incident.
And if you bought it 3 weeks before, how come you didn't have liability insurance?
I was looking for insurance, and plus, at the time, I hadn't received my paperwork. It was still in the other person's name at the used car dealership that I bought it from.
Your Honor.
I hadn't.
You know you're not supposed to be driving a car, Miss Taryn, without insurance.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Okay. You wanted to say something?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. I have proof that April Taryn purchased her vehicle February 8th, 2022. She drove uninsured for 41 days, and it was not from a lot. It was from someone off the street. I have the proof for that.
I'd like to see it.
Yes.
Amari hands the document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
For $2,050.
Judy reviews it.
Well, this car that you registered, the selling price was $2,050, according to this.
No, it wasn't. And
well, I'm going to show you vehicle and transfer law. This is 2011 Sentra, and it was signed, but it's LLC. That's his company.
Okay.
So it wasn't off the street, but it said the selling price was $2,000. That's what this says.
I don't have my paperwork in my car.
Want to show this to her?
Kevin brings the document to April.
I just want to get some basic facts first, and then I'm going to go to the incident.
But that's and
no, the person, the seller.
And you know, I have my paperwork in my car.
Well, but you understand that that's
I understand what you said because it's right there. Yes.
Okay, we have a diagram. This happened on March 21st, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You had no insurance, and you were traveling in the bike lane.
No, that is not true. I shared the lane of the car on the right. I would never go into a bike lane. That is disrespectful to the road and riders.
Just a second. Are you allowed to share a lane with a car and a motorcycle?
That is your right, yes.
I know Foothill. Is that where you were?
Yes, Your Honor.
And at a certain time during the day, Foothill becomes very trafficked.
Yes.
And the cars sometimes get stopped because there's a light, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go over to there, Miss Garcia, and show me, please.
Amari approaches the diagram of the accident.
Where you were positioned before you say that you were traveling in the same lane as a car.
Your Honor, I was directly behind this car.
Okay.
Directly behind.
You were directly behind that car.
Yes.
And that car was stopped.
They were slowing to a stop.
No, they were stopped because they had to have been stopped because that's why you went around him.
They were slowing to a stop. By the time I got around here, they were stopped. I didn't want to veer into here. I was slowing down. I was around 25 miles per hour. This lane at the time was too close. So I shared this lane on this side.
Miss Garcia, I got it, Miss Garcia. You want me to appreciate the fact that you wanted to get around the stopped car and you wanted to continue to go straight, correct? You weren't turning. You wanted to go straight.
I was going straight, correct.
And so you want me to picture in this tiny mind of mine that instead of going into a perfectly clear bike lane, you inched your way at 25 miles an hour in the same lane as a stopped car.
Yes.
But
this diagram,
you know, I find that hard to believe, Miss Garcia.
Your
I
Honor,
really find that hard to believe. You may be in the right with regard to this, but I find it hard to believe.
The roads are very wide. I have the actual police photo document of that.
I'd like to see it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Amari returns to the plaintiff's table, then produces a document and hands it to Kevin.
Right here.
And I'd like to see the police report as well. Is there a police report?
It's attached to this.
Fine.
Kevin brings the document to Judy.
Because as you were traveling straight, the defendant was making a left turn. She was making a left turn because the two cars there were stopped, and those were the only two traffic lanes there. Now, I don't know whether she could see whether it's a motorcycle or a bicycle traveling in the bike lane, but what happened was she was making a left turn. According to this, you went into her passenger side. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Caption, coming up.
So where is the motorcycle now?
I no longer have it. The towing company, they sold it.
What are you driving around in now?
1995 Chevy Baville.
Atta girl!
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Amari and April.
Amari Garcia is accusing fellow motorist April Taryn of damaging her motorcycle. April claims Amari was illegally driving in the bike lane.
Judy reviews a document.
Who was in the car with you, Miss Taryn?
My son and his girlfriend.
One of them had an injury.
Yes. My son's girlfriend, she was in the driver's passenger side. And while I was turning into the lane, I just felt a crash and saw glass going into my car, and then she was cut.
Okay, and you had an injury to your knee?
Yes, I have several injuries, and I have photos as well.
You understand, Miss Taryn, that the police interviewed witnesses. The witnesses were in the stopped cars.
Yes.
And at the end of all of their interviewing process, they determined that you were the cause of the collision. That's what it says.
And I don't...
It says that you caused the collision by violating Vehicle and Traffic Law 218001, failure to yield when making a left turn. I determined the cause based upon the parties involved and the physical evidence. That's what the police determined. Okay, well, then that's an easy, based upon the police report, because each of you were going to tell two different stories about what happened that day. Police were there, they looked at the physical evidence, they looked at the injuries, they looked at the damage to the roadway, they interviewed independent witnesses, and that was their determination.
I understand, Judge, but the police report had some inconsistencies where, like, she was driving in the bicycle lane, which is against the law. And what I was doing, I was making a left turn, as you know. And these two front cars, which one of them was a witness.
Yes, that car paused to let you make a left turn.
Yes, both lanes. And I was.
No, you said both lanes.
Both lanes paused.
Well, that's what you say.
Yes.
That's what you say. That's not what this says.
See, but they both did. And as I was
But I'm just telling you.
No, I know. And
Yeah,
that's
but
why
I'm just
said...
telling you. That's not what this is. That's what you say. There was nothing that prevented those two cars from going.
Exactly.
There wasn't a traffic light. There wasn't a stoplight at that spot.
Yes.
And there was heavy traffic.
Yes.
So it's your responsibility to make sure if you're making a left turn that you have to yield to all oncoming traffic.
And
so the fact that you didn't see her is really not relevant. And as long as you understand that this police report supports Miss Garcia's claim that you caused this accident by making a left turn when you shouldn't have been making a left turn, that's what this says. And that, you know, at the end of the day, it's an accident. That's why it's not called an on purpose. It's called an accident. Neither one of you anticipated it. As far as I'm concerned, Ms. Garcia, you're entitled to be compensated, but I'm going to suggest this to you. If I'm driving a motorcycle, which I would never do, just for me, I think it's wacky. I think there are enough crazy people driving around that I like about 2,000 pounds of steel around me, so that if somebody who is not paying attention and there's an accident, I like to be safe. My first car when I was 17, all my friends were getting these cute little cars, you know, that were convertibles, and my father bought me a 15-year-old blue and white Cadillac sedan. It was so embarrassing to drive around in that car. It was a boat. Oh, come on. Everybody else is getting these cute little Corvettes, even if they're used ones. And my father, who loved me a lot, said to me, sweetheart, if you get into the accident, I want you to come out unscathed. And this ensures that you got a shot if you get into an accident. And I feel better. So I'm just telling you, if you're going to drive a motorcycle, don't take shortcuts. I know this place on Foothill, and I know what happened here. You know, you wanted to go, there was no reason why you couldn't. That's why you drive a motorcycle, because you can get into tight places. But you look like an intelligent young woman.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Don't take chances. That was a chance. It could have been a lot worse. What was the damage to your motorcycle?
I have pictures. Would you like to see them, Your Honor?
I would.
I did look it up. Lane splitting motorcycles is legal in California, based on the California Highway Patrol.
Amari hands photos to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews them.
Okay, no, I see the pictures. So where is the motorcycle now?
I no longer have it. The towing company, they sold it. They sold it for $70 they claim, and I got hit with collections afterwards. I have the bill for that if you'd like to see that.
How much did you pay for it?
$6,407.
Do you have the bill?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
For my motorcycle, what I paid for, correct?
Yes, what you paid for it.
Amari hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
What are you driving around in now?
A 1995 Chevy Baville.
Atta girl! Atta girl. Okay. I'm giving you the value of the motorcycle.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Which is $6,407. I'm not splitting whose fault this was, actually, but I'm not awarding you any punitive damages for her. She had injuries in her car. You were slightly injured, but both of you seem fine now. I don't think that you were careful enough when you were going straight and around that car that was stopped. But the defendant didn't have insurance, and she was cited by the police for violation of a traffic law. So I'm giving you the cost of your motorcycle.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judgment for the plaintiff.
This court is adjourned.
So I actually ended up, after the car had made impact with me, the bike went that way, I went up into the air.
It was really frightening.
I hit the ground, I hit on my elbow.
I've never experienced that before.
I was really scared. I thought, like, oh, this is it, my legs are out.
And like I said, I was being cautious and
thankfully I wasn't.
But it ended up in that kind of situation.
Definitely more safely as far as better gear and, you know, like she said, don't take a shortcut or anything of that sort.
Sarah.
So I looked up lane splitting, and in California, it's one of the few states that allows it for motorcyclists. It does say inexperienced riders shouldn't attempt it because, like we see, it's very easy to get hit or for someone not to see you if you're splitting between lanes, but it is legal, so she wasn't in the wrong by lane splitting, but
Kelly and Kevin Jackson for unpaid rent and property damage.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2116, versus Kelly Jackson.
Thank you.
Welcome.
क्या हाल है आप सब लोगों के? उम्मीद सब खैरियत से होंगे। अच्छा भाई, क्या हाल चाल है? सब ठीक ठाक? और मौसम वगैरह कैसा है? कराची का मौसम तो भाई बड़ा ख़तरनाक है, गर्मी हो रही है बहुत। गर्मी शर्मियाँ चल रही है और अपना मौसम कोई ख़ास नहीं है, बेकार मौसम है, मज़ा बिल्कुल नहीं आ रहा और अपना बारिश का भी कोई सीन भी नहीं है और सब सेट है। तुम सुनाओ क्या हाल है और बताओ सब ठीक ठाक है? तो बिल्कुल, वरना फिर भाई सब सही है ना? बुढ़े बुढ़े तो देख रहा है, मुझे पता है, बुढ़े देखिए लाजमी। सही है बेटा, इसी तरह लगे रहो, अगर देखते रहो भाई को। अगर बुढ़े 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 हैं बुढ़े। क्या हाल है आप सब लोगों के? उम्मीद सब खैरियत से होंगे। अच्छा भाई, क्या हाल चाल है? सब ठीक ठाक? और मौसम वगैरह कैसा है? कराची का मौसम तो भाई बड़ा ख़तरनाक है, गर्मी हो रही है बहुत। गर्मी शर्मियाँ चल रही है और अपना मौसम कोई ख़ास नहीं है, बेकार मौसम है, मज़ा बिल्कुल नहीं आ रहा और अपना बारिश का भी कोई सीन भी नहीं है और सब सेट है। तुम सुनाओ क्या हाल है और बताओ सब ठीक ठाक है? तो बिल्कुल, वरना फिर भाई सब सही है ना? बुढ़े बुढ़े तो देख रहा है, मुझे पता है, बुढ़े देखिए लाजमी। सही है बेटा, इसी तरह लगे रहो, अगर देखते रहो भाई को। अगर बुढ़े 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 हैं बुढ़े। क्या हाल है आप सब लोगों के? उम्मीद सब खैरियत से होंगे। अच्छा भाई, क्या हाल चाल है? सब ठीक ठाक? और मौसम वगैरह कैसा है? कराची का मौसम तो भाई बड़ा ख़तरनाक है, गर्मी हो रही है बहुत। गर्मी शर्मियाँ चल रही है और अपना मौसम कोई ख़ास नहीं है, बेकार मौसम है, मज़ा बिल्कुल नहीं आ रहा और अपना बारिश का भी कोई सीन भी नहीं है और सब सेट है। तुम सुनाओ क्या हाल है और बताओ सब ठीक ठाक है? तो बिल्कुल, वरना फिर भाई सब सही है ना? बुढ़े बुढ़े तो देख रहा है, मुझे पता है, बुढ़े देखिए लाजमी। सही है बेटा, इसी तरह लगे रहो, अगर देखते रहो भाई को। अगर बुढ़े 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 हैं बुढ़े। क्या हाल है आप सब लोगों के? उम्मीद सब खैरियत से होंगे। अच्छा भाई, क्या हाल चाल है? सब ठीक ठाक? और मौसम वगैरह कैसा है? कराची का मौसम तो भाई बड़ा ख़तरनाक है, गर्मी हो रही है बहुत। गर्मी शर्मियाँ चल रही है और अपना मौसम कोई ख़ास नहीं है, बेकार मौसम है, मज़ा बिल्कुल नहीं आ रहा और अपना बारिश का भी कोई सीन भी नहीं है और सब सेट है। तुम सुनाओ क्या हाल है और बताओ सब ठीक ठाक है? तो बिल्कुल, वरना फिर भाई सब सही है ना? बुढ़े बुढ़े तो देख रहा है, मुझे पता है, बुढ़े देखिए लाजमी। सही है बेटा, इसी तरह लगे रहो, अगर देखते रहो भाई को। बुड्ढे 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 हैं बुड्ढे। वालेकुम, क्या हाल है आप सब लोगों के? उम्मीद है सब खैरियत से होंगे। अच्छा भाई, क्या हाल चाल है? सब ठीक ठाक? और मौसम वगैरह कैसा है? कराची का मौसम तो भाई बड़ा ख़तरनाक है, गर्मी हो रही है बहुत। गर्मी शर्मियाँ चल रही है और अपना मौसम कोई ख़ास नहीं है, बेकार मौसम है, मज़ा बिल्कुल नहीं आ रहा और अपना बारिश का भी कोई सीन भी नहीं है और सब सेट है। तुम सुनाओ क्या हाल है? और बताओ सब ठीक ठाक है तो बोलो, वरना फिर भाई सब सही है ना? बुड्ढे बुड्ढे तो देख रहा है, मुझे पता है, बुड्ढे देखिए लाजमी। सही है बेटा, इसी तरह लगे रहो, अगर देखते रहो भाई को। अगर बुड्ढे 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 हैं बुड्ढे। वालेकुम, क्या हाल है आप सब लोगों के? उम्मीद है सब खैरियत से होंगे। अच्छा भाई, क्या हाल चाल है? सब ठीक ठाक? और मौसम वगैरह कैसा है? कराची का मौसम तो भाई बड़ा ख़तरनाक है, गर्मी हो रही है बहुत। गर्मी शर्मियाँ चल रही है और अपना मौसम कोई ख़ास नहीं है, बेकार मौसम है, मज़ा बिल्कुल नहीं आ रहा और अपना बारिश का भी कोई सीन भी नहीं है और सब सेट है। तुम सुनाओ क्या हाल है? और बताओ सब ठीक ठाक है तो बोलो, वरना फिर भाई सब सही है ना? बुड्ढे बुड्ढे तो देख रहा है, मुझे पता है, बुड्ढे देखिए लाजमी। सही है बेटा, इसी तरह लगे रहो, अगर देखते रहो भाई को। अगर बुड्ढे 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 हैं बुड्ढे। वालेकुम, क्या हाल है आप सब लोगों के? उम्मीद है सब खैरियत से होंगे। अच्छा भाई, क्या हाल चाल है? सब ठीक ठाक? और मौसम वगैरह कैसा है? कराची का मौसम तो भाई बड़ा ख़तरनाक है, गर्मी हो रही है बहुत। गर्मी शर्मियाँ चल रही है और अपना मौसम कोई ख़ास नहीं है, बेकार मौसम है, मज़ा बिल्कुल नहीं आ रहा और अपना बारिश का भी कोई सीन भी नहीं है और सब सेट है। तुम सुनाओ क्या हाल है? और बताओ सब ठीक ठाक है तो बोलो, वरना फिर भाई सब सही है ना? बुड्ढे बुड्ढे तो देख रहा है, मुझे पता है, बुड्ढे देखिए लाजमी। सही है बेटा, इसी तरह लगे रहो, अगर देखते रहो भाई को। अगर बुड्ढे 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 हैं बुड्ढे। वालेकुम, क्या हाल है आप सब लोगों के? उम्मीद है सब खैरियत से होंगे। अच्छा भाई, क्या हाल चाल है? सब ठीक ठाक? और मौसम वगैरह कैसा है? कराची का मौसम तो भाई बड़ा ख़तरनाक है, गर्मी हो रही है बहुत। गर्मी शर्मियाँ चल रही है और अपना मौसम कोई ख़ास नहीं है, बेकार मौसम है, मज़ा बिल्कुल नहीं आ रहा और अपना बारिश का भी कोई सीन भी नहीं है और सब सेट है। तुम सुनाओ क्या हाल है? और बताओ सब ठीक ठाक है तो बोलो, वरना फिर भाई सब सही है ना? बुड्ढे बुड्ढे तो देख रहा है, मुझे पता है, बुड्ढे देखिए लाजमी। सही है बेटा, इसी तरह लगे रहो, अगर देखते रहो भाई को। अगर बुड्ढे 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 हैं बुड्ढे। वालेकुम, क्या हाल है आप सब लोगों के? उम्मीद है सब खैरियत से होंगे। अच्छा भाई, क्या हाल चाल है? सब ठीक ठाक? और मौसम वगैरह कैसा है? कराची का मौसम तो भाई बड़ा ख़तरनाक है, गर्मी हो रही है बहुत। गर्मी शर्मियाँ चल रही है और अपना मौसम कोई ख़ास नहीं है, बेकार मौसम है, मज़ा बिल्कुल नहीं आ रहा और अपना बारिश का भी कोई सीन भी नहीं है और सब सेट है। तुम सुनाओ क्या हाल है? और बताओ सब ठीक ठाक है तो बोलो, वरना फिर भाई सब सही है ना? बुड्ढे बुड्ढे तो देख रहा है, मुझे पता है, बुड्ढे देखिए लाजमी। सही है बेटा, इसी तरह लगे रहो, अगर देखते रहो लाइफ में। गुड डे, गुड डे, डे, गुड डे। वालेकुम, क्या हाल है आप सब लोगों के? उम्मीद है सब खैरियत से होंगे। अच्छा भाई, क्या हाल चाल है? सब ठीक ठाक? और मौसम वगैरह कैसा है? कराची का मौसम तो भाई बड़ा ख़तरनाक है, गर्मी हो रही है बहुत। गर्मी शर्मियाँ चल रही है और अपना मौसम कोई ख़ास नहीं है, बेकार मौसम है, मज़ा बिल्कुल नहीं आ रहा और अपना बारिश का भी कोई सीन भी नहीं है और सब सेट है। तुम सुनाओ क्या हाल है? और बताओ सब ठीक ठाक है तो बोलो, वरना फिर भाई सब सही है ना? बुड्ढे बुड्ढे तो देख रहा है, मुझे पता है, बुड्ढे देखिए लाजमी। सही है बेटा, इसी तरह लगे रहो, अगर देखते रहो लाइफ में। अगर बुड्ढे 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 बुड्ढे। वालेकुम, क्या हाल है आप सब लोगों के? उम्मीद है सब खैरियत से होंगे। अच्छा भाई, क्या हाल चाल है? सब ठीक ठाक? और मौसम वगैरह कैसा है? कराची का मौसम तो भाई बड़ा ख़तरनाक है, गर्मी हो रही है बहुत। गर्मी शर्मियाँ चल रही है और अपना मौसम कोई ख़ास नहीं है, बेकार मौसम है, मज़ा बिल्कुल नहीं आ रहा और अपना बारिश का भी कोई सीन भी नहीं है और सब सेट है। तुम सुनाओ क्या हाल है? और बताओ सब ठीक ठाक है तो बोलो, वरना फिर भाई सब सही है ना? बुड्ढे बुड्ढे तो देख रहा है, मुझे पता है, बुड्ढे देखिए लाजमी। सही है बेटा, इसी तरह लगे रहो, अगर देखते रहो लाइफ में। अगर बुड्ढे 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 बुड्ढे। वालेकुम, क्या हाल है आप सब लोगों के? उम्मीद है सब खैरियत से होंगे। अच्छा भाई, क्या हाल चाल है? सब ठीक ठाक? और मौसम वगैरह कैसा है? कराची का मौसम तो भाई बड़ा ख़तरनाक है, गर्मी हो रही है बहुत। गर्मी शर्मियाँ चल रही है और अपना मौसम कोई ख़ास नहीं है, बेकार मौसम है, मज़ा बिल्कुल नहीं आ रहा और अपना बारिश का भी कोई सीन भी नहीं है और सब सेट है। तुम सुनाओ क्या हाल है? और बताओ सब ठीक ठाक है तो बोलो, वरना फिर भाई सब सही है ना? बुड्ढे बुड्ढे तो देख रहा है, मुझे पता है, बुड्ढे देखिए लाजमी। सही है बेटा, इसी तरह लगे रहो, अगर देखते रहो लाइफ में। अगर बुड्ढे 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 बुड्ढे। वालेकुम, क्या हाल है आप सब लोगों के? उम्मीद है सब खैरियत से होंगे। अच्छा भाई, क्या हाल चाल है? सब ठीक ठाक? और मौसम वगैरह कैसा है? कराची का मौसम तो भाई बड़ा ख़तरनाक है, गर्मी हो रही है बहुत। गर्मी शर्मियाँ चल रही है और अपना मौसम कोई ख़ास नहीं है, बेकार मौसम है, मज़ा बिल्कुल नहीं आ रहा और अपना बारिश का भी कोई सीन भी नहीं है और सब सेट है। तुम सुनाओ क्या हाल है? और बताओ सब ठीक ठाक है तो बोलो, वरना फिर भाई सब सही है ना? बुड्ढे बुड्ढे तो देख रहा है, मुझे पता है, बुड्ढे देखिए लाजमी। सही है बेटा, इसी तरह लगे रहो, अगर देखते रहो लाइफ में। अगर बुड्ढे 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 बुड्ढे। वालेकुम, क्या हाल है आप सब लोगों के? उम्मीद है सब खैरियत से होंगे। अच्छा भाई, क्या हाल चाल है? सब ठीक ठाक? और मौसम वगैरह कैसा है? कराची का मौसम तो भाई बड़ा ख़तरनाक है, गर्मी हो रही है बहुत। गर्मी शर्मियाँ चल रही है और अपना मौसम कोई ख़ास नहीं है, बेकार मौसम है, मज़ा बिल्कुल नहीं आ रहा और अपना बारिश का भी कोई सीन भी नहीं है और सब सेट है। तुम सुनाओ क्या हाल है? और बताओ सब ठीक ठाक है तो बोलो, वरना फिर भाई सब सही है ना? बुड्ढे बुड्ढे तो देख रहा है, मुझे पता है। बुड्ढे देखियो लाजमी। सही है बेटा, इसी तरह लगे रहो, इधर देखते रहो लाइफ में। बुड्ढे 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 बुड्ढे। क्या हाल है आप सब लोगों के? उम्मीद सब खैरियत से होंगे। अच्छा भाई, क्या हाल चाल है? सब ठीक ठाक? और मौसम वगैरह कैसा है? कराची का मौसम तो भाई बड़ा ख़तरनाक है, गर्मी हो रही है बहुत। गर्मी शर्मियाँ चल रही है और अपना मौसम कोई ख़ास नहीं है, बेकार मौसम है, मज़ा बिल्कुल नहीं आ रहा। और अपना बारिश का भी कोई सीन भी नहीं है और सब सेट है। तुम सुनाओ क्या हाल है? और बताओ सब ठीक ठाक है तो बोलो, वरना फिर भाई सब सही है ना? बुड्ढे बुड्ढे तो देख रहा है, मुझे पता है। बुड्ढे देखियो लाजमी। सही है बेटा, इसी तरह लगे रहो, इधर देखते रहो लाइफ में। बुड्ढे 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 बुड्ढे